everyone. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the Riri's Talk Show. Today, I am going to have an amazing guest to tell you a little bit about her story, her experiences, and with hopes to change your life. Today, I have me the beautiful guest, Ms. Danielle Piercelin, and we are going to talk about how does $1 million literally disappear in less than 48 hours. And I am going to have her tell you all about it. Now, Danielle, say hello to my audience.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, absolutely. I mean, you have an amazing story. You've definitely overcame major obstacles and adversities in your life, and of course, all the trials that you've gone through, and you still look fabulous and ready to tell all to change somebody's life out there.
I still feel fabulous, so.
I love it. Now, Danielle, tell us what happened. Give us a summarized version of, I'm sure you were married at the time. Give us a little, snippets of what happened.
I was on my second marriage. I came from, I wanted to say, almost nothing, with a lot of smarts. We got together, got married. My father-in-law passed away, leaving $2 million behind. From that $2 million, we invested, after we partied and bought some luxury cars, we invested in property and in housing, and from that it grew to be almost $11-12 million in a very short amount of time, probably within 3 years of inheriting the $2 million.
Okay, so he was your second marriage, right?
Yes.
How long have you known him?
I have known him since I was 4 years old. I know he's about 8 years older than me.
Wow. Okay. So, of course, it sounds like he inherited millions from his dad, and then both of you invested in real estate, and you were able to turn that around. So he was already $2 million, but then you added some double digits being as partners to that.
Correct.
Marriage.
We were partners. He had no idea on how to manage and run properties, but he knew how to buy properties and things like that because he had a real estate license. He knew what he was doing on that.
Oh, okay.
So we made a really good, powerful team.
That's awesome. Yeah. So because he was the real estate, what was your role?
Mine was managing the apartments. I knew the ins and outs of managing the property, the system of the law on, moving them in, moving them out, eviction process, all of that. So the legal aspects to basically cover our booties. That was my part.
Well, she is covering the rears, right? Of course. Now, how long were you guys married for?
We were married for approximately 8 years.
Okay. And you had a former marriage.
Yes.
How long were you married for?
That one was 10 years, and I had my 3 beautiful daughters with him.
Oh, okay. So you have 3 children.
Yes.
And with the second marriage, any children?
Yeah, he has a son. So I have my stepson, and then we had 2 dogs and a pig.
That's awesome. So that's 4, a blended family.
Yes.
4, a pig.
A pig and 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs. Quite a family. So did you have the white picket fence as well?
On some of the properties.
Okay. And now, since you knew him since you were 4 years old, how did it all happen? How did you guys meet after from the first marriage?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. I know we got a lot of stories. Christmas, I think it was 96. Both were there. My first husband, and then soon, later on in life, second husband. We were at a party. It was kind of like that fork in the road. Make a decision. Well, the decision went with one and not the other. And then 10 years later, second husband shows up at my door and goes, I heard you're available. That's a short Reader's Digest version. And from there, it was just bliss. We kind of just transitioned really quickly, moved in, and from there we got married, and it really happened really fast. It was one of those roller coaster weddings.
So would it be fair for me to say that in this 8-year marriage, in the first couple of years, you guys were just living the high roller lifestyle?
Yes, we definitely were. We're totally in the newlywed stages for the first 3 years, just absolutely in love. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we were bringing our friends and family to restaurants. He did not want me to cook. I couldn't even clean up our tables at the restaurants to make it easier on the waitresses. And he's like, no, a wife of mine's not going to be doing that. So we were very spoiled. Having the luxury cars, going on trips at 3 weeks at a time with all 5 children, and sometimes bringing guests along. You know, brought my brother along, make him the babysitter so we could actually go out and enjoy.
So it sounds like you guys brought family along versus the friends, because you know how it is when you have all the money in the bank and you're living this lavish lifestyle. You've got additional friends that you never even knew about before, right?
Yes, we call those leeches.
Oh, let's just keep it real, right? That's what our talk show is all about. Keep it real, right? So now, did you have many of those come along to the trips?
No, we didn't. It was really just mostly family, because that, you know, just bonding time and having a good time with the kids.
Now, with the first couple of years, newlyweds, having fun, living the lifestyle, bringing the family along, blended family at that, how many properties did you guys end up buying?
Thinking about it, we probably had about somewhere 13 to 15 properties. We had a lot. They were all over the world, going as far as Croatia, some in Hawaii, Los Angeles, here in the Bay Area. We had 4 properties in San Jose alone. It was like Monopoly when we first bought the first property. It was a 4-plex, and then next door we ended up buying the 5-plex, and at the end of the other opposite block we had a duplex. So within a year and a half we owned the entire block from corner to corner, which is really nice.
So 1996 is when you both got together, right?
No, 1996 is with the first husband.
Oh, with the first husband,
yeah, okay. It was...
And then 10 years, so that's 2006.
Oh, wait, you're right. 1996 is the... Sorry, my math is not so good anymore.
It's okay, it's okay.
No, 2005 is the second husband we got together.
Okay.
It took me a minute.
So 2005, and it's 8 years from 2005. Right? And the first couple of years, 2005, 2006, that's when the market was literally, real estate was booming in the Bay Area, in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah, it was kind of a bad time to really invest. There was a lot of issues in 2005, 2006, but it was perfect for some people to purchase like ourselves, because we turn it into renting.
Nice. So then you also have this residual income that's coming in on a monthly basis.
Right. Well, you would hope. Some of them, it was not cash flow positive, but it was a break even. It was taking care of the mortgages.
Awesome.
When renters paid.
When renters pay. Isn't that always a bummer when they don't? No. Okay. Now, of course, because I'm painting this picture for the audience, of course, you know, and 2005, the 8 years, couple of years, living the lifestyle, blended family, purchasing properties left and right, all over the world. Now, within the 8 years, the first couple of years, did you start seeing certain things change in your marriage because of the money that you both inherited?
Yes, it was the money, but it was also, you know, when you're in a relationship, your comfort walls, you know, your levels can drop down, and the second husband's was starting to show. He had some issues that he hadn't dealt with, and those were starting to come out. We had people pulling us in all kinds of different directions. I got to tell you this is a great investment. Yeah, everybody was trying to get their hands in our pocket and give us their 2 cents.
Well, the pockets were steep, so I'm sure they were trying to get many hands in the pockets.
Right, and it's a lot of times they just didn't understand, even though you have money, whether it's liquidable assets or money on paper that shows your value and worth, it's not always what reflects what's really in the bank. And so people don't realize that certain money has to be in different accounts, and those accounts, you know, oversee each one of those properties. So you may have one garbage bill, but for me, I had 12 to 15 garbage bills to pay. And they were, and people don't put that kind of stuff together.
Tell us, besides real estate, what else did you buy with all that money?
We bought some pretty good vacations, took the kids to Hawaii for 3 weeks, went to Florida for 3 weeks, Vegas, all those big things. The fun one that we did was lavish cars. I got myself a Hummer, and a week later, he got himself a Porsche. But with that Porsche, he bought it all in $1 bills.
$1 bills? Okay, I literally need to hear about this one. Why $1 bills?
The dealership that's here locally in the Bay Area didn't feel that we had that kind of money. Now, granted, they saw us coming in with, ratted clothes and paint. We had just come from working on one of our apartments and, in the middle of painting a wall, he's like, yeah, today's the day I need to buy my Porsche.
So you were basically stereotyped, right? When you
Big
walked
time.
into the Porsche dealership all painted on, I mean.
I look like some hillbillies and coming in to buy a Porsche. $120,000 Porsche is what he wanted. It was a newer one of that year. It was a 2007.
Wow.
And yeah, they didn't want us to sit in it. They wouldn't let us drive it. They kept repeating the same questions that we gave them answers to. And without them coming forth and saying, well, we just don't think you can afford it, we took the hint and we're like, we'll be back and we'll pay for it in cash.
Wow. Now, from the first day that you stepped foot on that dealership, how long did it take you to come back with cash? Because if you're looking to buy a Porsche for $120,000 in $1 bills, how long did it take you to put that money together in cash?
It took us about a week and 2 days. The reason being is we had to go to 7 different banks in the area and order $1 bills. And usually it takes a lot longer than a day or two to receive the large amount of $1 bills that we were requesting from a bank. But when we let these banks know what the story was, they got on the ball pretty darn quickly. So it was something that would have probably taken a month, took about a little over a week to get.
The power of leverage, right? Isn't it amazing? Now, tell me about when you walked in with this $120,000 in $1 bills. I can only imagine. How many bags or boxes did you have to take in?
We made this another family affair. Had the kids, had my brother, and a few other people along. There were several duffel bags. I believe almost every one of us could carry in a large duffel bag. We even kind of staged it up and had one of the kids accidentally spill some of the money onto the floor to kind of give them a hint.
Bummer.
Darn, right? Because we took the bands off the bills. I mean, we really wanted to show them, hey, don't judge a book by its cover.
This is true. This is true.
And that's why we did it. It was just solely on principle, kind of humble them, hopefully, in the future.
Well, I'm hoping that this local dealership learned a lesson.
I would hope so.
But you bought the Porsche.
Yes, we bought the Porsche.
Who drove it out?
My husband did. It was been. I usually,
The was-been.
The was-been.
I guess that's the new term versus baby and bae. Now it's the was-been, right?
Yes, he's no longer, so he's a was-been.
Okay. All right. Now, so your lavish vacations.
Yeah.
Vehicles, luxury cars. And now tell me, we talked about that husband started showcasing some signs of, some issues. Was it health issues, emotional issues? What were they?
A lot of emotional issues started to surface up.
Like?
He was adopted by his father. About 4 years old, I think it was. I mean, he lived in an orphanage. He has memories still of the orphanage.
Now, the father that left him $2 million.
Is the one that adopted him.
Okay.
So it's like a silver spoon sort of situation, or Richie Rich is probably another one that your audience can relate to.
Wow.
He was adopted, flown over from Croatia, and became an American citizen. And it was shortly after he was adopted, then his adopted parents separated.
Okay.
And so those issues were never resolved, and they started to surface.
And what would you say, from your memory, what you can that you can tell that really, made an impact on your marriage or on himself?
It was his mother issues. He saw how I was with the kids. Being there, I was heavily involved in their school stuff, helping them with homework, just being there to support the kids, taking them out. Like my stepson, I felt it was really important to bond with him, even though I wasn't his real mom. We'd have our mother-son dates, and then I'd do the same thing with my daughters, giving them their individual time. And he started to kind of resent his own mother, but it would come into our marriage. And he would become very jealous. Even though I'm spending the time with the kids, he was trying to take my time away from them. Like, for one example, is I was going prom shopping, dress shopping for my oldest daughter, and every 2 minutes, he was either texting or calling, going, "Where are you at?" I mean, it got so bad that when I came home, I had to show him the timestamp on the receipts
Oh, wow.
that I was right there.
Wow.
And, my daughter is not understanding it, going, she loves this man to death, yet he still feels like he's cheating, and my mom's not like, she was right there the whole time.
Wow.
So it was little stuff like that started to get in the way.
Those are some pretty big stuff, and I'm sure that played a big role in what was going on with your marriage, right? I'm sure that there's a whole lot more that we can probably dig into, but because we have such a short time, now these emotional, it sounds like there's some mental, issues coming up too, of insecurity as well, with you spending time with the kids. He probably felt that was being taken away from him, that he needed that time. And the fact that you mentioned he started resenting his mom is probably because you were being a better mom to your children than the way his mom to him.
I'm sure it had some of those, there was a whole bunch of different things going on.
We were talking about, that he got the help, but it was a bit too late. Tell us a little bit about that.
We had already had, it was like on a daily basis, the screaming, the yelling, the up and down, the fighting, kids being scared. We finally went to marriage counseling, and in the marriage counseling, even there, he was blowing up, and the counselor suggested that he needed one-on-one counseling. I was already currently in counseling the entire time, trying to deal with issues from the first marriage.
Right.
So that's where it was a little bit too late.
Okay. So even though you guys went to a marriage counselor, did he get the one-on-one counseling for himself?
He did for a little bit, and then he stopped seeing her. It was getting better when he was getting the one-on-one, and we had marriage counseling, and I had my own counseling. But like I said, it really was too late, because he kept stopping and then going, and you find excuses. He just was still in that state of denial.
Okay. So besides the insecurity, him being overprotective, wanting you to show him receipts of timestamps of where you were, it had to be, he must have been doing something behind the scenes in order for him to be so insecure. Did any, infidelity happen in your marriage? Any of those things? Tell me about it.
Unfortunately, yeah, there was infidelity. I forgave him on certain situations because I could understand it. But after about the fourth or fifth time, yeah.
Wait, you said fourth, fifth time.
Yeah, there were several times. There was a couple times on the internet. I could tell through the history it wasn't very long. It wasn't a physical relationship, maybe a little bit mental, but it hadn't fully formed. So I could forgive that.
So he was e-cheating?
Yeah, he was e-cheating, and then from e-cheating, it went to
physical cheating?
Physical cheating through employees that we had. I don't know if that was to get things done in his way. And it was...
So there was insubordination and indecent things happening within your company.
Yeah, and what really I was good to him. We were very healthy in the bedroom on those aspects. It was a daily activity for us at least once, if not twice. So for him to cheat, I don't understand.
So you did your part as a woman to make sure that your man was pleased, right? But yet he still stepped outside of your marriage.
Yeah.
And it was 4 or 5 times. Now, how were you able to handle all this besides the fact that you were already going to counseling?
It was because of counseling, really. And, I've seen there's so many different types of marriages out there. Marriages are a contract that you either agree to the terms, make addendums, or you end your contract. Wow. And it came to the point where it was time to end the...
Interesting way of putting it, because yes, that is definitely interesting, and I can take that into a whole new segment.
Yes, you could.
I'm going to literally just stay focused on how we have lost millions of dollars. And of course, audience, you are starting to see the picture that Danielle is painting for us of what took place from 2005 and 8 years from 2005. Now, all this started happening within the first couple of years, in love, spending a whole lot of money, traveling, buying luxurious, vehicles and whatnot. And then the problem started to surface within the fourth, fifth year. What would you say?
About the fourth, fifth year is an accurate statement.
Okay.
It just got worse until one day he had raised his hand and hit me one too many times.
So then he became physical.
Oh yeah, the physical was kind of in there once in a while throughout the thing, but it just got more and more towards the end, about the 7th, 8th year.
Now, of course, some of the audience that's watching, like, okay, so you've got all these millions, you got the business, you're being spoiled. So is that the reason why you would actually endure the physical aspects and probably the verbal and all the cheating that was happening?
No, it wasn't. I really truly loved him, and I understood like the issues that he had. And some of them, like in the beginning, I thought it was cute. And I, with his insecurities, and I had no problem trying to, comfort him through those. It just got worse, and I couldn't do it anymore because then I felt like I was enabling him, and I wasn't really helping him.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's just so much that had went on.
So there was real, genuine love here
Yes.
on your part. So you were not just staying because, okay, he inherited $2 million, but you flipped that $2 million and
Right.
actually doubled, double digits, $10 to $12 million.
Yeah, like one of the examples is, we'd have a fight. He would cut and write me a check for $75,000 going, here, I know it's about the money, just take it. And I'd be so offended, and I'm tearing up this check going, you don't get it. I love you. It is not about the money.
Now, with the women that was in his life, and I'm sure you probably knew the majority
Yeah.
of them.
Oh, yes, I did. And even the ones before we were even married, because I've known him for over 28 years. Most of those women were materialistic.
Okay, so it was all the material things versus love. And audience, you are going to have to tune in to our next week episode to find out what took place and where did the $10 to $12 million go with all the infidelity, all the insecurity, and all that was going on under Danielle's roof. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a big mission statement here that Danielle is trying to convey to you all. The first segment was super amazing, and how Danielle painted a picture about love and money and being spoiled, having the life, living the high rolling life, right? And now we are going to showcase next week what happened to the high rolling life, because there's love, happiness, unhappiness, domestic violence, abuse, and all that happens in our daily lives. So stay tuned to Riri's Talk Show for next week's episode.